Okay, welcome back to the next lecture of the SQL. So till now we have learned everything about creating the structure, modifying the structure, controlling the data, controlling the transaction, how to insert a data. So almost we know the basic thing of SQL. We can create a table, insert the data, and basic query, all of us know, select star from table name. So that is also is done. So today we will talk about query building. What is a query building? Simply, a query is also called as a DQL, data query language. Now, query is nothing but simple meaning of the query is asking. So here, asking means simply we write a syntax to retrieve a specific records from the table. That's called as a query. Now, whenever you want to retrieve the data, we have to write a query. In a query, first we are going to talk about a basic query. What do you mean by the basic query here? Simply, a query starts with a keyword select. The way we want to insert a record, start with an insert. So query start with a select. Very simple. And basic clause of a query are only the two clauses. One is a select and second is a from. Now select is selecting all the columns from the table which you are having in the table, and from you specify the source. Very simple. So simply let's understand with a practical example of basic query building. Okay, so we'll start our application express. We'll put a username, password, and login. Okay, now we'll see the already having account. We'll give the password again. SQL workshop, SQL commands. So this is the works. This is the window where we are going to write our query. So when we write a query, query has a first clause called as select. Simple. Now in the select, mostly we use a asterisk that is called a star. Everybody know that select star. Then we say the from and the table name students 2021. So pay attention what this actual means. So this select is a one clause, from is another clause. A query has to be returned by minimum two clauses, select and from. Now in the select, first we'll talk about a select. When we write a star, what is the meaning of the star here? Star or asterisk means all the columns. Usually when this question is asked, we say star means all the columns, or we say all the data. No, it's all the columns. All the columns of the source you have chosen in the from clause. So what will be the result of this query now? It will select all the columns, and by default, query retrieve all the records. So now if I execute this, we got all the records. Total records are 8, and we got the 8 records. What if I use only the name? Now instead of star, we have used the name. So we are selecting only one column, name. So now it is going to select only one column name and all the rows, because by default, a query retrieve all the records. Now if I execute, we will see that 8 rows. Without using the star, we got 8 rows. That means star has nothing to do with the rows. Star means the column. This time we have specified only one column name. So that's why one column is retrieved. Does it mean other column has gone from this table? No. Always you have to remember that a query is a read only. Read only means what? It never make any changes in actual table. Whatever the changes are made, that is for the projection. Very simple here. Whatever the changes are made with the query is only for projection. Correct? Now, in the select, what we can choose? Only and only the column. Now that columns are of 2 types. One is called actual column. Actual column, also called as identifier. Now name is an actual column available in the table. And second is called as virtual column or calculated column. Second is a virtual column. Now what do you mean by the virtual column? Actual column is very simple to understand, that column is available in the table. Virtual column means that column is not available here, but that is used as a column for this particular source. Look at this. I say the select. Then I say the Salman from students 2021. Now, is the Salman name of column is available in the table? No, it's not available. We know that, but this is called a virtual column or literal. This is called a virtual column or literal. What do you mean by the literal? Literal means as it is. So it is going to retrieve this as it is. But when we say the name, it is not retrieving the name. It is retrieving the Priya, Meena, Smita, Mukesh, Rakesh, Tikesh, and Riya. But here, if I execute, we got Salman. Very simple here. So that is called as a literal. Correct? So 2 types of columns. One is actual column, second is a literal. Now, understand in a different way, whatever we use in a select considered as column. So simple. Now, what if I write something here? Select 5 plus 6. I want a calculation of this. But if I execute this, I'm getting an error. From keyword is not found. Because in Oracle or in many DBMS, from is a compulsion clause, select is a compulsion clause. But if I execute this in MS SQL, I'll get a result as 11. then why I'm not getting this result in the Oracle? Because Oracle says that you have to mention columns as well as the source where that column are resides. But this 5 plus 6, it does not store in any of the column. So for this, we have to use a from, but we don't have any specific source for this. So Oracle or many RDBMS provide one system table called as dual. Dual is a one row, one column table, can be used as a source for retrieving the pseudo column. What's a pseudo column? Pseudo columns are those columns which is not stored in any of the table, but act as a column. So now if I execute, I'm getting a result 11. Now same thing I can use with my actual table. Select 5 plus 6 from students 2021. This time we will get the result 11, but for how many times? The number of rows available in the table, that many times we are going to get the result for this. We got this result for 8 times. Very simple. That's a select. Now in the select, there is a one more thing you can use. What is that? Now let me write a first select star from students 2021. Now here star represent all the columns and by default all the rows. So we will get all the columns and all the rows. Let's say I am retrieving only the age. So what will I do in that case? I'll say the age. Now I'll get the result only for one column, age. Now here you can use one extra keyword, that is a subclause of select, is called distinct. Very simple. Now what does a distinct does? It logically eliminate the duplication. Now you will see here we have 22 for 2 times, 25 for 2 times, 3 times. But if I'm using the distinct, everything will be returned only once. Instead of 8 row, now it's a 5 row. And each value is a distinct value. Now, if you want to use a distinct, one thing to be remembered that it has to be used immediate after the select. You cannot say name, comma, distinct age. That's an invalid query. Simple. So simply remember one thing, distinct can be used immediate after the select clause. So this is one thing. Another thing is called alias. What is an alias? Alias is nothing but temporary renaming the column. Temporary renaming the column is the alias. Now let's say if I say select name as, simple, we'll say celebrity. Select name as celebrity from student 2021. Now if I execute this, now here you can see the column name is temporarily renamed as celebrity instead of name. So simply remember the three things. One, in the select, we can choose only columns. Second, you can use an asterisk star, that means all the columns. Third, we can use distinct. Distinct is, it will logically eliminate the duplication. Fourth one, you can temporarily rename the column with the keyword as. Now, even if I'm not using the as and I'm not separating it by comma, this will be considered the same. Very simple. So simply you have understood what the select is. Everybody has to pay carefully for basic query building because entire queries are depending on basic queries. So select, everything is clear. Now let's come to the from. Now this everything what we have done with a select. Now let's come to the from. I'll remove this. Okay. Now second clause is a from. I'll say select star from. In the from, it's very simple to understand. You can use a source of the columns where it is resides. Now that source could be the permanent source or could be the temporary source. In simple words, it could be the permanent source or a runtime source. Now let's say if I say students 2021. Now the source is a 2021. Star means all the columns. We get the result this way. Correct? Now instead of this, if I write a subquery, select name, comma age from students 2021. Name, age from students 2021. Correct? Now first, always the subquery execute. And the result of the subquery will act as a table for outer query. I'll repeat once again. Result of the subquery will act as a source for outer query. Now star actually means what? All the columns, but here in this result, we have only the two columns. So now star means these all columns. So the result will be the only two columns. Very simple here. So simply, this is a from clause. Very clear? In the from clause also, you can temporarily rename the source. Let's say I am retrieving here select star from students 2021. Correct? Now instead of star, if I'm using the name, what will be the result? Only one column and entire rows. Very simple here. Now instead of name, if I say students 2021 dot name, meaning is the same. I'll get the same result here. Now I just rename this column. And renaming the column, if I say the S. Now here, this will be renamed to S. So now if I execute, I get an error. It says student 2021 is not valid because that is renamed to S. So instead of this, now if I use only the S, I'll get the result. So this always helps when we write a query to retrieve the data from more than one table. Simple here. So we can say that first clause is select. We know we can use only the columns. Second is a from. You can use only the source. Okay, so let's remove this S now. And use the star. Now these are the two compulsory clauses for writing a query. After this, we have a third clause called as where. Where is a clause which allow you to filter the record. What do you mean by filtering the record? Okay, let's first execute without where. What is we are getting? All the records. Now we can have a billions or millions of records. Do we need all the records at the same time? No. So for that purpose, we take a help of where. Where allow us to write a condition. Where allow us to write a condition. Simple. Now condition should be a valid condition. Which condition are considered as a valid? Only those conditions are valid in which you have comparison operators. What is a comparison operator? Comparison operators are operators which compare the two things and return the Boolean output, whether true or false. Now, if I say age plus 10, I say the select star from students where age plus 10. Now execute. I'm getting an error. Reason is age plus 10 is a calculation, but it is not compared with anything. Until it is not compared, it is a invalid condition. So here we can say that age greater than 25. So can we say that this operator is a comparison operator? We'll check the age with the value 25, and wherever it is going to match, only those record will be projected. Roll number, only Ria we got it because rest everyone are less than 25. Clear? In the where you can write n number of conditions, but for that purpose you should be knowing the operators. So that we'll discuss at the time of talking about operators. Simple here. Okay. After the where, the last one is called order by. Now you can see, let's forget about the order by first, and we can execute this much. We are getting all the records. Now you can see that it is not in any specific order, neither by name, nor by age, nor by gender, nor by roll number. But we want to retrieve our data in a specific order that is called a sorted by. So let's say I want to retrieve roll number wise. So whichever column you are choosing for sorting, you can choose that column here. Order by roll number. Now, order by can be done in a two-way. One is ascending order. Second is descending order. So here I can use ASC for ascending and DESC for descending. Everybody know the meaning of ascending and descending? Ascending, lowest first, highest last. And descending, highest first, lowest last. So now if I execute this, we talk about descending. Which is the highest roll number here? 9. So first will be the 9, then 8, 7, and so on. So now the records as projected in a specific order. Simple. That is called a simple order by clause. Now, if I'm not choosing the descending, so by default, it is ascending. By default, it is ascending. Which will be the first now? Mukesh. Very simple here. Okay. Now we can choose multiple columns. We can choose the multiple columns in a order by clause. Roll number, comma, age. Sorry, we'll not choose a roll number. We'll choose a age, comma, gender. Now, by which column sorting will done? So usually, first column is called as primary sorting order. First column is called as a primary sorting order. So actual sorting will be done by age. But where age will get same place, then it will take a help of gender, that which to be the top, which to be the bottom. For an example, if I execute order by age, which record will come first? 17. After 17, 21. After 21, 25. But in 25, I have 1, 2, and 3. इन तीनों में से कौन सा ऊपर आएगा? So for that purpose, it will take a help of gender. M and F. Which alphabet comes first? F. So Priya will come first and then the rest. So if I execute now, you can say 17, 21, 22 means Smita is for, okay. We have a 2 22s. So Smita is first, Mukesh is second. Reason is F. Correct? And Priya is first, Rakesh and Tikesh are after that. Very simple here. So simply in an order by, you can choose multiple columns. Now let's say if I say order by TOP, I have only one, rest are null. So if I execute, I'm getting all the null as a last. So it is the assumption that null are the higher value than this, but it is not there. So you have a choice to choose the null value, whether it should be the first or a last. So you can say nulls. The word keyword FIRST first. Now all the nulls will be the first. Correct? So if I execute, all the nulls are first. And then this. If I say nulls last. Nulls is last. First not null value and then the null value. Clear? So simply you can say order by help us in sorting the data in a specific order. Clear here? That's very simple to understand, that this allow us to sort the data. And this sorting is only for projection purpose. Okay, let's recap. We have talked about the select is for columns. From is for source. Where is for condition. And order by is for sorting. Okay. So simply when you write a query, you should be remember these important points. Clear? So simply we say that select में सिर्फ column use करना है, from में source, where में condition, order में column use करेंगे, and that column will help you to sort the data. Clear here? So let's come back here. So select is keyword that retrieve columns from the table. From, specify the table name. Where, specify the condition. Select and from is clear. Where is clear. Order by is also clear. Simple here. Now, this we have already discussed. Distinct. We have already discussed the distinct. Now, a query, SQL, structured query, correct? Structured query language. So whenever you write a query has to be written in a specific order. And that order is select, from, where, group by, having. These two clauses we have not discussed now in this lecture. That we'll discuss at the appropriate time. So once again, for select, from, where, if you are using the group by, then group by, then having, and order by is the last. So always query has to be written in this specific order. If you are not using this specific order, query will be the invalid. Simple here. So this is the order in which you have to write a query. Select statement is clear to everyone? Yes. From clause is clear to everyone? Yes. Where clause is clear to everyone? Yes. Literal. We have already discussed a literal is what you provide as it is. Virtual column is called a literals. I have written here select PGA from 12. In that case, what will be the result? Dwell is a system table. It does not have any data, and we say the PGA. So result will be the PGA, and this PGA is a literal. So it will be selected as it is. So you should understand that a hard-coded value, which is not a part of database, but we use in a select clause, is known as literal. That literal could be the number, character, or date. Very simple. So literal is the simplest part to understand. After the literal, distinct. We have already learned the distinct. Distinct is a subclause of select. Distinct is a sub clause of select. When we use a distinct, it logically eliminate the duplicate values. But if you want to use a distinct, important part, this must be appear just after the select. We have seen the example. Distinct को आप कहीं और use नहीं कर सकते. अगर use करना है, then it should be immediate after the select clause. Very simple. Last is the order by clause. So order by clause is used for sort the data rows. Correct? And we have discussed in the detail about the order by. So order by is also the simplest part. After the order by, let's talk about the important thing called the wildcards. Now, what is a wildcard? This wildcard is used for partial search, or you can say pattern matching. Okay. Before talking about the wildcards, we should be talk about, if you want to use a wildcard, has to be used along with like operator. Then only the wildcard is a useful. Okay. What is the like operator? The same equal to operator. Like operator is same like a equal to operator. The difference is equal to operator is a value matching operator and like operator is a pattern matching operator. Now in this pattern matching operator, we can take a help of wildcards. In the wildcards, we have a two wildcards. One is a underscore, one is a percent. Now percentage and underscore. Underscore is a single character wildcard. Means what? When we use the underscore, it should consider one character. That could be any character, but compulsorily one character. Percentage is called as multiple character wildcard. So percentage means either one or multiple or no character. So percentage simply means either one character, multiple character, or no character. Very simple here. Now let's understand with an example. Okay, so I'll remove all these things again. And we'll write our simplest query. Select star from students 2021. We got all. Now we want only those records जिनके नाम R से start होते हैं. That means it could be the Rakesh, it could be the Riya. Correct? So if I write where name equal to R. So here R is a whole word. So it is going to search R as a complete name. So result will be no data found. But हमारी requirement ये नहीं है. हमारी requirement है R के बाद कुछ भी हो सकता है, कितने भी कैरेक्टर हो सकते हैं या कोई कैरेक्टर नहीं भी हो सकता है. So here we can take a help of wildcard. So now R के बाद सिर्फ एक ही कैरेक्टर हो गया, एक से ज्यादा भी हो सकते हैं, एक से ज्यादा भी हो सकते हैं. So we'll use a multi-character wildcard percentage. But still we get a result no data found. Reason is equal to. क्योंकि अगर आप वाइल्ड कार्ड यूज करते हो तो उसके साथ लाइक ऑपरेटर कंपल्शन है. लाइक ऑपरेटर इज मैचिंग द पैटर्न. सो नाउ इफ आई एग्जीक्यूट, वी गॉट आर. आर के बाद कुछ भी, कितने भी. आर के बाद कुछ भी, कितने भी. वेरी सिंपल. नाउ लेट्स से आई वांट टू रिट्राइव अ रिकॉर्ड जिसमें m सेकेंड पोजीशन पे है. कौन सा रिकॉर्ड रिट्राइव करना है? जिसके नाम में m सेकेंड पोजीशन पे है. सो इन दैट केस वी कैन से दैट लाइक पहला कैरेक्टर होना चाहिए और कुछ भी हो सकता है. सो वी कैन टेक एज अंडरस्कोर. नाउ इस अंडरस्कोर रिप्रेजेंट one character and compulsorily one character. और सेकेंड कैरेक्टर कौन सा होना चाहिए? m. दो ही कैरेक्टर होने चाहिए. m के बाद कुछ भी हो सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है. So we can take a help of percentage and I'll close it. And if I execute, we got Smita. Very simple. So wildcard help us in partial search. Correct? Now, one important thing to understand that let's say Smita want to change the name as Smita's. Smita want to change the name as Smita's. So how do I change the name? So for making any changes, we take a help of update statement. Correct? So we will use it here. Update students (2021) set name equal to SMITA Smita apostrophe S, where roll number equal to 9. We want to change the Smita as Smita's, but we get an error. Reason is this is nothing but a quote. Correct? Hence this is a quote. Now it starts from here, it ends here. And once this quote is ended, it is expecting the where clause. So this has become the invalid characters. So how I can make a quote as a part of data? So for that, you can take a help of quote operator, that is called a Q. And when you're using the quote operator, data has to be given in a square brackets. So my data starts from here up till here. So in that case, before the brackets will be the starting quote and after the bracket will be the ending quote. Within a bracket is considered as a character for storing. So now if I execute, one row is updated. Now if I execute this, you can see that Smita has become the Smita's. Simple it was. Let's move ahead. That is a quote operator. So you understood the wildcard, you understood the quote operator. Dual. We have discussed what the dual is. Dual is a table which is a special one row, one column table present by default in Oracle and other database installation. In Oracle, the table has a single column called dummy and the value has a X. That X does not mean any value, plus does not mean a null value. Simple. So usually the dual is used for retrieving the pseudo columns like sysdate or user. Very simple here. Aliases. What is aliases? It is nothing but temporary name given to the column or table. We have talked that in a practical manner also. So it helps us to shorten the name, which make easier to perform when we are using the joins. Very simple. Now, earlier we have talked in which order query has to be returned. And this is the order in which query get executed. The difference is in that order it has to be returned, and this order query get executed. So in which order it get executed? From, where, group by, having, select, and order by. So how will you remember this? Only one change. Select has come from first to fifth. That's it. No other changes are here. Simple. I hope you understood this is the order in which query get executed. Now we'll talk about a pseudo columns. Pseudo columns are nothing but a column which is not a part of any table, but they provide us certain values. And that's very simple to understand. First pseudo column is a sysdate. What the sysdate is? System date, which provides us current date. Now we'll keep on executing the statement also, so you will be understanding very easily. Select sys date from 12. So we got a system date. Simple. Second is called a sys timestamp. Select sys timestamp from 12. It is also the date, but detailed date. 9 July 21, hours, minutes, seconds, AM, PM, and plus 5:30 is a. You can say that it is nothing but we are ahead than GMT plus 5:30. Clear? After that, we have row num. Row num is a pseudo column which provide sequential number to the selected rows. Row num provide sequential number to the selected rows. Let's understand here. Here if I say select star, or we'll say select name from students where age is less than 25. Where students 2021. We get only the 4 records. Now here if I use row num, it is providing the sequential number to the selected rows. It's a temporary number given to the selected rows. That is a row num. So sysdate is clear, sys timestamp is clear, row num is clear, and next is called as row ID. Row ID is a permanent memory address of a row. That is a row ID of the row. Now if I say select, or I'll just do one thing, I'll copy the same. And here I say row ID. You can see this. This is the alphanumeric data, or you can say hexadecimal data, which is a permanent address of this. Now let's say here the row name is temporary given to the MENA, but this is the permanent address of MENA. That's the difference between the row num and row ID. Clear? Same thing. Let's move ahead. We have a user and UID. When you are using the user as a pseudo column, it provides the name of the user by which you have logged in, or you can say by which you have connected to the database. Same way, UID is user ID. It retrieves the current user ID. That's it. Next val and cur val is a pseudo column which is used along with sequence. When we are using the sequence, next val generate the next number and cur val retrieve the last used or last number. That's the next val and cur val. So simple here. So with this, we can say that we have finished how to write a basic subqueries. We'll meet again in the next lecture.